On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Cats.
The movie.
The film Cats. Remember that? Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Medalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters and grown-ass men.
Yeah.
Who recently, for as a joke,
For this kind of,
basically,
for you.
for you, for us, for somebody, we watched Cats. You know, we're only
10 months late to the party.
yeah. We're only 10 months late here.
Yeah.
Watching the film Cats, released December 2019.
When the world was different.
The world was a very, very different place in December of 2019 when director Tom Hooper released this masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece. Greatest movie I've ever seen. I can't fathom how it only has 2.8 out of 10 on IMDb or 20% on Rotten Tomatoes or a whole 32% on Metacritic. I don't know how someone could treat this film so badly. We'll talk about the film Cats more in a while.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't know how much there really is to say about Cats.
I don't either.
I think maybe we have.
I think it's been said, most of it.
A lot of it, but I think maybe we'll talk because we talked after we watched it and over the last couple of days, so we'll talk more about it.
Right.
But how are you?
I'm doing okay. Not a whole lot has changed since the last podcast. Nope.
Yeah.
We have a cat who ate something. We can't figure out what it is, but he keeps making sound constantly.
They do that sometimes.
Yeah.
You just ate something that wasn't good.
Right. It might have been a stick or something.
I think I left like a box open that I needed to throw away, but it had like a piece of styrofoam in it.
Oh, sure.
And Zima seemingly ate like half of one of the pieces.
Yeah.
But that was like a week ago, and she has showed no ill effects, no signs that was.
You never saw it again.
Yeah, and so like she's fine. She didn't even seem like she was sick or anything. So
sure.
I mean, obviously not great for a cat to eat styrofoam
Or anyone
to eat styrofoam, but she seems all right. So she's an animal. They can eat more things than we can. So
sure.
I'm sure she'll be all right.
Ironically, in that purview, cats really only eat ever one thing if you're an indoor cat.
Yeah.
It's the same thing every day until you die.
Yeah. And if you're a wild cat, the only thing that you really eat also is meat.
Sure.
Of many different kinds and, varying kinds of freshness. But cats are obligate carnivores.
Right. Unlike dogs. Which
can handle a more varied diet, but even in the wild, a wolf is mostly diet is mostly meat with the occasional thing, and then of course you have bears, which can eat whatever the fuck they want
and do
and regularly do. Speaking of the cats, there she is. Here she comes. She knows we don't have the spray bottle, and she's gonna come and bother us all night.
Maybe if I go over to pet her, that usually chases her away.
Possibly.
Hi.
She's gotten so used to you, though.
I think so.
She when we were watching the film, she came up to you and was like rubbing on your legs.
Yeah.
So I think she's too used to you at this point for you to be a deterrent, for you to be scary at all.
Sure. Hello. Yeah, she's fine. Got another adapter.
I have a connector. We've been having headphone problems for like the last month. And I mean, really for like the last 6 months. But
see, the problem is, and I'm like this too. We get done with the podcast, and then Kale will forget this part of the room exists.
Yeah.
Until we have to come back to it, and it's like, oh yeah, that problem is still there.
I don't look at or think about this part of the room. I mean, I look at it, but I don't really think about anything. Like, I don't touch the board between episodes. It just stays on and all the knobs stay where they're at.
Is it good for it to stay on all the time?
Is it good for our boards at work to stay on all the time?
Maybe.
They've been on continuously for like a decade at this point.
15 years.
Yeah. So I think that, granted, that thing is probably far less expensive than those were.
This one's probably only what, 10 grand?
Yeah, only $10,000 for that little board sitting over there. That I was a sophomore in college and managed to knock that out, pretty easily.
Yeah, sure. Well, you're independently wealthy.
No, that was like $200, something like that. But I mean, I haven't. It hasn't exploded yet.
Sure, yet.
And it's only a little hot.
Yeah.
It's only a little hot.
I like
having phantom power running 24/7.
I like that you're saying it hasn't exploded yet, and it's an object that is right next to my head.
Yeah. We all have to go sometime, OJ.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose. An electronic fire is probably in my list of ways it's acceptable to.
Somewhere on there.
Eaten by a bear. Falling from an airplane.
Yeah, I don't know. My list. I don't really have a list of acceptable ways to die. You don't really get to choose, generally speaking.
No,
I mean, you can't. Oh, let's not go there.
Yeah, that's a bit dark.
Yeah, let's not go there. But
yeah.
Have I done anything in the last week?
Did you go canoeing last weekend?
No.
Canoeing.
I don't have a canoe.
Sorry. Speedboat. Did you go speedboating?
Yeah, I went speedboating. No, that was a couple weeks ago. I don't think I tried to go over the weekend.
And it might not be good this weekend.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's only going to get up to like 50 on Saturday, but like the wind on Friday I didn't look at the wind Saturday. But like the wind the last couple of days has been fucking horrendous.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Like Friday, the wind is 5 to 10, which is a lot better, especially compared to the last time I went out, which was, I tried to go out and it was like 15 to 20.
Today would be no fucking way.
Yeah, today it would be an impossibly bad idea.
It's like 45-degree wind out there right now.
45-degree wind?
It's 45. Well, actually, it's 55-degree wind.
It's 55. Are you saying it's 55 degrees with wind, or are you saying the wind is 55 degrees?
The wind is 48 degrees.
What the fuck are you talking about?
This is the temperature outside.
Why are you doing this? Why?
I meant to say 45 miles an hour.
And now you just kept
just
going.
Sticking with it.
Just kept running with it.
Just gonna own it and move. No, it's 45 miles an hour. Earlier today, I took my 14-year-old to Sally Beauty Products store.
Yes.
Over by the Walmart and next to the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
We went in there, we bought our stuff, and we came out, and there were 2 Dollar Tree shopping carts that looked like they were possessed by demons.
They were just running around.
And it was one that was headed straight for a minivan at like 15 miles an hour. So I run after, like, oh, I'll save you, minivan. And then I grabbed the cart, and there was another one that already hit the bumper of a pickup and then swing it around to hit more cars. I got that one, and I'm pushing them both toward the Dollar Tree, and my hat, my Grenada hat, flies off my head. And just it's like, oh, it's gone. And so I took the carts, because I'm not gonna let the carts go. I mean, I'm doing a thing here. I better do it to the end. And
you're being a good dude.
Yeah, and I put the carts away, and I go out to the Dollar Tree, and there's this I believe he's Vietnamese dude who works at the nail salon down the thing. He's like, I got your hat.
Nice. Hey, hell yeah.
Dude. So I ran down and got it from him.
Everybody all around was being good people.
Yeah, so
that's pretty awesome. But yeah, it's been windy as fuck. I mean, it's going to be colder, but like if it's not windy as fuck, I will consider going out. The problem is I don't have a coat that is both very warm and also water resistant.
Sure.
I should get like some thermals or something like that.
Or maybe full scuba regalia. I mean,
nah.
Just complete wetsuit.
That'd be very expensive.
You're the guy who spent $10,000 on a board.
But no, I think the other thing for going, because my plan, at least for like, oh, it's colder out, how am I going to make sure I don't freeze to death if I fall in the water, is generally I have really big Ziploc bags and put huge beach towel in the Ziploc bags, change of clothes, and get a whole bunch of like hand warmers or something like that. If I fall in, grab that bag, grab the kayak, get myself to dry land, open that up, dry off, change clothes, and figure out what the fuck to do then.
Sure.
That's probably not the greatest idea ever. And honestly, the later in the year it gets, the more I'm kind of like, I think colder than 60 degrees is a no-go.
No.
At least for me in that kayak in this place. Or at the very least on the lake, especially.
Next we could get back to the 70s.
Yeah. If I had that up here and was just on like, on the Surus, and I could, more easily get right back to my car or something like that,
or to the shore, which are in town.
Yeah, or just to the shore in town or something. It would be a different story going out when it's colder, but I think for the lake, that's just not the best idea because you're just so far away from anybody that could help you out. Whereas around here, it would be a bit easier to get some help or help myself.
Right.
I think the towel and the change of clothes is still a decent idea, but it's, I just don't think it's, I think going out when it's that cold is not the best idea.
Right.
But and then again, I don't know how cold the water is yet. I think it cools down actually fairly quickly at the lake.
Well, it's because now the Missouri River feeds it, right?
Yeah. And so it's like certain other large bodies of water cool down very slowly because they're insanely large. Like at the Great Lakes, I think cool down fairly slow. But Lake Sakakawea is fed by one pretty strong river. So
how would you like to take your paddle boat out on Lake Superior?
Lake Superior. Well, it kind of depends because the thing about Lake Superior, the thing about the Great Lakes, is they're large enough to have tides, I think,
and eddies and
So it's sort of that's a different story, I think. And also like there's been a lot of ships that have sunk on the Great Lakes.
Sure.
Partially because like you can get some pretty fucking big waves on those lakes. And
you might as well be on the ocean.
Yeah. There is a particular kind of wave that has ended up destroying a whole bunch of, I think it's because they're so large, but also there are parts where they are not very deep. And so there are points where the waves are so big that ships can bottom out in the trough of a wave. And it like breaks ships in half. It's
neat.
I saw a animation demonstrating the effect and it was fucking insane. And like the types of ships that normally go into the Great Lakes are built for that sort of.
They're not cruise liners.
Yeah, or it's not. Their hulls are different to accommodate for the fact that they're on a large, shallower lake rather than on the ocean.
Well, I wonder what the deepest part is. I mean,
the deepest part of the Great. I don't know. I don't know how deep the deepest part of the Great Lakes are. I know like Lake, I think it's Baikal in Russia is like several thousand feet deep at certain points. That lake is insane. Deepest point in the Great Lakes. What do you say, Google? The deepest depth of the Great Lakes is in Lake Superior with a maximum depth of 1,332 feet.
That's pretty deep.
About 40 miles north of Munising, Michigan. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I did not think it was that deep. Sure. God damn.
That's pretty deep.
That's like
the Marianas Trench.
That's fucking deep, dude. Whoa. Marianas Trench is far deeper.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Also, the thing that continually disappoints me every time I think about deep ocean trenches is the fact that they're not really a trench in the sense that the sides are not sheer or steep.
Sure.
The sides of most ocean trenches are actually quite gradual.
It's more like a valley.
Yeah, it's more like a very deep valley. I'm sure there are parts and certain exceptions to that, but as I understand, like a lot of deep ocean trenches, the sides of the trenches are a fairly gradual slope.
Right. There would be an easy climb.
Yeah, it's not like Subnautica where it's just a sheer cliff down into the terrifying depths.
I still don't know how you played that game. I recently played that game again. I'm like, I don't know how Kale played this.
I got used to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's different once you like know the gameplay loop and also get some decent technology going.
Yeah.
The most you can play. I think there is a version of Subnautica that is in VR, and that would probably make me shit my pants.
Sure.
I don't think I'd be able to play that whatsoever. But the regular version of Subnautica,
where it's on a screen, it's on a TV in front of you.
I think I managed that pretty well.
Like, can you watch like documentary videos of people going to the bottom of the sea? I mean,
yeah, generally. It sort of depends. It really kind of depends on the situation. Like I find like the Blue Planet documentary, like I enjoyed that. I liked watching that, but there are certain shots and scenes that make me deeply uncomfortable. But generally I'm all right with it. But when I picture myself being in, any sort of open ocean scenario, that scares me. Like I think part of it is so much like documentaries, you are at the bottom and observing creatures when you are at the bottom. That doesn't bother me so much. It's the idea of not being able to see the bottom and knowing it's thousands upon thousands of feet below me. And there could be any number of things between me and the bottom that I cannot see. That bugs me. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that idea. Something I was thinking about earlier this week that also bothered me is I was thinking about that movie, The Meg.
Yeah.
And how the premise of it, the premise is incredibly stupid. It's not trying to pretend it's not stupid, but like the idea that, this giant shark is going to be such an, insane force of destruction. It's like, it's just a really big shark.
It's made out of fish.
It's still made of fish. What's the fucking problem? Or it's roughly the size of a sperm whale. Do you know how many fucking sperm whales human beings have killed? Most of them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not going to be that much of a problem. Or the idea that these sharks were living in the Marianas Trench at like the very bottom and they broke open a thing where these megalodons live. It's like, do you know how water pressure works? The only sharks that live that deep are Greenland sharks, and they are blind and move at a maximum speed of about 2 miles an hour. But
those
also,
are good eating.
Yeah, such good eating that in order to make them not toxic, you have to let them like ferment and rot for several months.
Hakarl, is that what it's called?
Yeah, hakarl is an Icelandic delicacy. And part of the reason is the Greenland shark meat is jam packed with urea.
Sure.
As a part of their biology that lets them live in such deep water.
Right.
Their meat is packed to the gills, literally, with urea. So not only does hakarl taste awful, it also smells like piss.
Right. Just smells like ammonia and
and it's just I do kind of want to try it. If I were to ever go to Iceland, I feel like I would have to try it.
I might not come back here. Let's give it a go.
Yeah. Although I have to wonder if Icelanders view that as being kind of like a stupid touristy thing to do. Just like none of us actually eat that.
Right.
That's just a thing we tell tourists to do.
Well, that's how I feel about lutefisk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you go to Norway or something like that and say, hey, where do I get lutefisk? They're like, why would you do that?
That's just something
Gross.
you stupid Americans kept on doing. Do you know why we made lutefisk?
Desperation.
It's desperation. It's because this is the edge of the world with only so much arable farmland. But this is the year 2020. We have food now.
Yeah, you want a burger?
We don't need to eat lutefisk anymore. So we don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's God. What is it? I mean, I just literally just answered the question. I was about to say, like, what is it with Scandinavians and gross fish food? Yeah. It's because they had no food and needed to make it last all year. So they did some unspeakable things to it.
How do we save this herring? Well, pickle it. Yeah.
Pickle it. What do we do with this fish? What kind of fish is lutefisk? Is it cod?
It might be.
But yeah, what do we do with this fish?
Well,
throw some lye on it.
Yeah, boil it in lye.
And then let it sit in a shed for a couple months, or however the fuck they make it. I've never even bothered because I hate the smell.
Yeah. I've had lutefisk. Have you never had it? I mean,
I've never bothered to actually have it, mostly because I've heard my entire life how awful it is. And it's just in my head as a thing that is awful. Maybe there's a small chance I would enjoy it.
Yeah, I remember. Well, yeah, I don't know. I've gotten it. I really only ever had it at Hustfest.
Yeah.
And I go there and you get this plate that I paid $13 for. It's got lutefisk. It's got lefse. It's got something else. It's got a big dollop of mashed peas. And I'm thinking, wow, you know what? The saving grace on here is the mashed peas.
I mean, what's wrong with lefse?
Lefse is pretty good too. You put butter and cinnamon sugar on it. It's good. Yeah.
Lefse lefse is a vector for sugary shit.
Yeah.
Like lefse itself is like, oh, this is just a bland piece of potato bread.
Right.
That you
potato flatbread.
Yeah, potato flatbread that I then put a whole bunch of powdered sugar and shit on top of, and that's what makes it good.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic. It is a platform for sweets.
Absolutely.
Have you ever had the Rummelgrot over there?
I don't think so.
Really?
What is it again? I know I've heard the word.
It's basically a cornstarch pudding that you also load with lots of melted butter and cinnamon and sugar.
I don't believe I've had that.
It's actually really fantastic. It puts sort of a pasty feel in your mouth.
See, my family's mostly German, so we didn't grow up with a lot of Scandinavian staples. I mean, my dad is, roughly half Norwegian or something in there, and so I'm like a quarter-ish Norwegian. But I said that really Nodak Norwegian. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of Scandinavian staple foods when I was growing up.
Really, the Borners were German?
Yeah, they would make like lutefisk and shit at church, but we didn't really go to church, so. Yeah, and even German staples we didn't do a lot of, partially because like the big German staple food that is not just a general food that anybody would like is sauerkraut. And
nobody in your house? Well, your dad likes sauerkraut.
I thought he did, but then I asked him and I was like, I don't really care for it. And I was like, what? Or maybe I'm misremembering that. I feel like someone in my family likes sauerkraut, but my mom had to make it at school every so often, and she despised that because the kitchen would smell like sauerkraut all day, and she would have to, sit and stew in it, and
then she would become herself
sauerkraut. And I've also never been fond of the smell.
So, yeah, I'll put sauerkraut on a dog any day.
I get the appeal of it, and depending upon how it's made, I think as I've gotten older, maybe it's just my sense of smell lessening.
Sure.
Because that's just happens as you get older, is you lose your sense of smell somewhat.
Ironically, you become smellier.
Yeah.
So,
you become smellier, and you are less able to smell. But it doesn't smell as bad to me today as it once did. So maybe I should give it a shot. But sauerkraut's just, it's never been my speed.
If you put a large spoonful of it in your ramen noodles, it's really good. It's a little bit of a crunch and adds a little bit of a sour to us.
See, right now I'm thinking of sausage, big old pile of mashed potatoes, and some sauerkraut. And I'm thinking like if I take that sauerkraut, mix it in with the mashed potatoes, and then I get a nice piece of sausage, mashed potatoes, and sauerkraut on the spoon. Eat that all together. That sounds really appealing.
I love that. I love exactly what you were describing there. I'll eat that any day.
It sounds really good. So next time I have an opportunity, maybe I'll have to give that a shot. I just don't know when the next time I will be in the same room as sauerkraut will be.
I have an unopened jar in my pantry right now.
You don't need to bring sauerkraut to me.
If you want,
I will wait for it to happen naturally in the world. I will be walking through the woods, and there will be
some sauerkraut,
a platter of sauerkraut, and I'll be like, "Wow, wild sauerkraut!" Shh! Don't scare it away. We need dinner tonight. Here we see the wild sauerkraut. Yeah.
I'll bring a grill tomorrow.
No.
Put some brats on it.
No.
Some wurst.
We don't need to do that. And what else? I don't know if there's really anything that's been...
Your hot water went out?
Oh, yeah. Well, so that's been a whole thing this week. So Monday morning, I get woken up by a call from maintenance saying that they need to check on the faucet on my tub because there is water damage in the bathroom / storage closet in the unit below mine. And they're thinking that something in my plumbing has been leaking. And so
because of what you did.
Yeah, because of what I did.
Yeah.
Hi, boys. It's me again. No.
Get the lawyer involved.
So they are like, there's an access panel in my storage closet, which is also where I keep the cat box. So I had to move the cat box and a bunch of other shit out of the storage closet so the maintenance guy could get back there. And apparently there was like a huge leak that I never knew about. Where like half of the water that was supposed to be coming out of the faucet of the tub or going up to the shower head was just spraying out behind the wall.
Sure. You had no way to know that.
And so they fixed everything with that. And then there was one other thing that he had to do yesterday morning. And then this morning I go to take a shower and I'm like, hey, everything's fixed now. That's cool. So I go to take a shower and thankfully I have always been of the habit, always test the temperature of the water before you get in. And when I turned the faucet on, I noticed the faucet felt very loose.
Sure.
The maintenance guy would later tell me that's because he put a new cartridge in it and everything. And it's like there was a buildup of minerals and whatnot that was causing it to
resistance. Yeah.
Some resistance. It was never like it was stuck or anything. It just didn't move super easy. But noticed that was really loose. And then I tested the water and it was ice cold.
Sure.
Even though I had it set on hot and I turned it all the way to hot. And it only got colder. And I didn't think to turn it the other way and point in my direction and see if it got hot. When I eventually called maintenance and they arrived, for whatever reason, the new cartridge that he put in was like swapped with backwards compared to the one that I had before. So hot was cold and cold was hot. But I guess I haven't checked it. I just presumed that he was able to fix it and just going to trust that. So this morning I filled up a large bowl of hot water in the sink because that still had hot water.
Carried it to the bathroom.
You
didn't do it right there.
Well, I have a sink in the bathroom.
Right.
And that was working just fine. So I just doused myself with water and showered that way. Showered the old-fashioned way of getting a bowl and pouring it over myself.
Do you remember a couple of years ago that dude who sued his landlord because He got into the shower and the water was too hot and he burned his dick. You remember that?
No, I don't.
Which somebody pointed the obvious thing out right away when that hit the papers. He said, usually when I test the heat of the shower, I use like my toe or my hand.
Not my penis.
Yeah.
I don't test out the water heat with my dick. But hey, you do you.
Well, yeah, whatever. I mean, this is how it ended for you, so
yeah,
maybe.
But
I don't know.
But yeah, I always test the temperature of the water before I get in. Just
of course,
my hand, because I don't I don't have room in my life for cold showers.
No.
Want that shit to be nice and warm.
I did that in my late teens. I did cold showers.
I just can't. I mean, I like the idea of being a guy that can take cold showers. Mm-hmm. It's because it's just a stupid macho thing. Yeah. I think of just I take cold showers every morning. Wakes me right up and I'm ready for my day. It's like, no, I want to relax.
Yeah, I get out of the shower and I'm beet red.
Yeah,
I'm lobster colored.
I don't usually do too hot. It's just warm enough.
I like to actually feel my skin peel off as I wash it.
Hey, yeah. I mean, why not? Mm-hmm. I'd like it. There are many reasons why I'd like to move to Finland. Yeah, but also the idea of there being a sauna in every home, right? Or as they would say, a sauna. Yeah. That's the proper way to pronounce it.
Right. There was an American dude I was talking to, because it was a play thing my daughter was in anyway. He kept saying, "Yeah, my dad and we install saunas," and I kept looking in his mouth as he talks, like, what the fuck word is he saying right now?
Well, it's if you say sauna, that's weird. If you say sauna, then people because you're doing like a Finnish accent and people get it. But yeah, if you just say sauna, that's weird. It's a weird middle ground where it's like technically you're saying it right, but you're also not saying it with the accent, so it doesn't work for me. That's a weird ground to be in. Do we want to talk about as you're about to sneeze, as if you were allergic to the subject of tonight's podcast? Just let it out, man.
I'm good.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
You're allergic to the subject of cats.
Of cats, yes. I'm not allergic to cats themselves.
You're allergic to
My
Cats,
dad is definitely
the 2019 film directed by Tom Hooper.
Yes.
So if you somehow slept through the complete shit show that was the release of this film, Cats is a 2019 musical fantasy film based on the 1981 stage musical of the same name, written by Andrew Lloyd Webber, which in turn was based on the poetry collection Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot.
Yes.
So the stage play, everybody knows about the stage play. They've got the costumes, they do the dancing, they do the singing, and it's been on for fucking ever. Right. And was incredibly successful, completely to the surprise of just about everyone involved. Although I think part of it also is, I think there are a lot of people who weren't theater people that were surprised that it's been so successful. But I would imagine there was a fair amount of theater people who were like, yeah, it was a Lloyd Webber thing. Of course, it made a shitload of money. The man knows what he's doing for writing catchy theater songs. I think it's just how bizarre everything else around the songs is that kind of surprised people. Like, people like this? People like watching this?
There's no story here. There's no story behind
this. It's just a bunch of cats introducing themselves for the whole musical.
Yeah, and then it's over. And then you're like, was that the start of the play or was it?
And it works as a stage play because I think when you go to watch theater, you are willing to accept a lot more whimsy than when you go to watch a movie, or at least when you go to watch a live action movie. When I'm willing to accept plenty of whimsy and silliness and weird things if I'm going to watch an animated film, but like I'm just not a musical person in general, so this is even more not my thing.
When you say you're not a musical person, you don't really care for musicals.
I don't care for musical theater, generally speaking. Although the only professional like Broadway productions I have ever seen have both been musicals. The first one was Wicked, and the second one was The Book of Mormon.
Sure.
Both of those won a metric shitload of Tonys, and are kind of more my speed.
Sure.
Wicked, maybe not necessarily. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. But like The Book of Mormon is absolutely my sort of thing.
Did you see their first musical?
What the fuck was
Cannibal the musical?
Yeah, no, I have not seen Cannibal the musical.
I recommend, if you've got a spare hour and a half, pulling that up and giving it a watch.
Cannibal the musical. But no. So like those were my speed, and I enjoyed both of them. But I've never seen any other Broadway productions. So this came out in 2019, and just about everybody who watched it and was a professional or amateur film reviewer took an opportunity to tear it completely the fuck apart in the funniest manner possible.
Right.
It was just sort of a competition of who has got the funniest dunk on this film.
Right.
And that was a lot of fun to watch, and it was fun to see people tear this movie apart.
I think I at least watched 2 reviews. Now, it was the Black Nerd and Lindsay Ellis.
Yeah, I watched the Lindsay Ellis one, which was a fairly exhaustive and I mean, as she always does, very thorough explanation. I mean, the title of it was "Why Is Cats?" Going into more than just a review of the film, but really a overview of like what is musical theater and why do musical theater plays almost never work as movies.
Right.
And it's mostly because people try to make them too gritty and realistic, sort of, instead of letting them be like whimsically unrealistic. Like people often cite Moulin Rouge as like a film musical that really works because it's not pretending that any of this is happening in reality generally.
Right. Yeah. They're saying, hey, no, this is a play that we're doing and filming essentially just in 3D. And
this is just super, fun and wacky. And also it's a movie that knows it's a movie and isn't trying to also be a stage play.
Cats is definitely trying to be the stage play in movie form.
And that just doesn't work.
Right.
Generally speaking. So Tom Hooper is a director who I think most other people would know him maybe as the director of a different musical, which was Les Mis. That won him an Academy Award for Best Director.
And then, once again, there's a movie that kind of worked on film.
I think that people were kind of, certain things. People really liked the, certain performances. Of course, it's Hugh Jackman in a musical, so that's always going to be great. People really liked Anne Hathaway's part. Everyone was fairly lukewarm about Russell Crowe because Russell Crowe's not a very good singer.
No. Even doesn't he have a band?
Yeah, it's Counting Crows.
No, it's not. No.
Does Russell Crowe actually have a band?
Yeah, he's recorded music.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Counting Crows.
Yeah.
It's the Black Crows.
Old Crow Medicine Show. With his sister Cheryl.
Yeah. Because Russell Crowe and Sheryl Crow are
they're related,
brother and sister.
Everybody knows
and
that.
They're married.
Anyway, so the film was mostly torn to bits because of the CGI.
Yeah.
I think anybody who knew anything about Cats and went to see the film was unsurprised about the fact that it has no plot. Because anyone who knows anything about Cats knows that
the play Cats.
Yeah, the play Cats is that it doesn't have a plot.
If you're trying to give it a plot, you're missing the point.
Yeah, it's about cats.
Right.
That was a direct quote, I think, from the producer of the play.
What's this play about?
Hal, it's about cats. So anybody who came into this film was like, unsurprised that it has no plot. What everyone was disgusted by, though, was the horrifying CGI.
Yeah.
And
the uncanny valley in which it dwells.
And I think that's, anybody who's paying any attention to, to movies in December of last year in the aftermath of Rise of Skywalker knew exactly what the problems with this movie were. It is now October of 2020. The world is a very, very, very different place.
Well, it's September, but yeah.
It's almost October. It is September 30th when we're recording this. So the world is a very different place now. The movie has gotten a couple more passes of polish on the CGI. That even happened while it was in theaters. And
didn't the cats originally have assholes?
Supposedly at a certain point in production, the animators gave all of the cats anuses, and then someone came in and was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why did you do that?
Why do these cats have assholes? Who is that for?
Quit doing that." And so they had to spend a bunch of money removing all of the ass. I don't know if that's actually true. But I think it's funny to believe it's true, so I'll keep on believing it. But they did a couple of passes while it was in theaters to improve some of the CGI. And even at this point, as we watched it on Sunday, it was still not great in certain places. There are close-ups of especially like Jennifer Hudson,
right?
Who plays a character called Grisabella. She sings the big song. She sings Memories.
Right. It's the song you know.
It's the song you know from Cats. And so there are shots of her that look really good. I don't like the character design on any of them.
Yeah.
I think the choice of the way they made all the characters look is bizarre. I don't know what else you would do.
Yeah.
But I still don't like it.
I don't know. If I were doing this, I would make them look like the stage cats.
Yeah.
I would make them because those are great costumes.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm willing to suspend my disbelief and say, yes, those are cat. I realize there's people dressed up as cats. Or in this movie, they made them look like cat people.
They look like something from an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Instead of a stage play. And yeah, I don't know. Or they could have done they could have made them look even less like cats and have them be like anime cat people.
Sure.
Like where they just have ears and maybe whiskers, but not all the fur and everything. Like they could have done, there's a million different ways they could have done it. This is what they did.
Yeah.
That didn't look, it still doesn't look great.
Right.
That said, I had a difficult time not smiling.
Sure. There were places.
I will not call this a good movie.
No.
But I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
and I'm surprised by that.
We were sipping whiskey the whole time.
Yeah, we were.
That helps.
Two grown men sitting together in a room watching Cats, drinking a $45 bottle of scotch.
Yeah.
Because I decided Cats deserved a bottle of Glenlivet.
Right.
Because fuck it.
Awesome.
It's great scotch, but it's like, why did I buy this? Yeah, fuck it. Who cares?
And I think the point you brought up before with the fact that it's now September of 2020, we look back on the 10 months that have gone between the release of this movie and now, and it's like, oh, some people singing thank you.
Yeah, it's anything to distract me.
Anything. Oh, did you watch the debate last night? No, I watched to see if Cats had assholes in movies.
I watched Cats. The songs were good. The CGI was bad.
Yeah,
and I had fun and got drunk.
The set was weird and
yeah, that's the other big problem is they have the cats are CG there are real people that were wearing,
but they weren't wearing mocap.
They weren't wearing mocap suits.
Yeah.
So everything had to be hand animated onto them, which is insanely labor intensive. But it was real people on real sets.
Right.
Very big, elaborate, practical sets. The problem, though, with that is the scale on those big, elaborate, practical sets is almost always off in some capacity.
Right.
Part of the problem with it is when you're trying to scale something to the size of a cat, you generally don't think, what if the cat is standing up because it's really a person?
Right.
And so that creates some problems.
Yeah.
of something that looks like it should be appropriately scaled, but isn't, because these cats are all standing up because they're people.
Right.
And so it creates a lot of bizarre scale problems where some scenes they look far too big. Many other scenes they look way too small. They look more like the size of mice instead of cats.
Right.
There are mice in the film. The mice look incredibly small, and they're also children, which creates some uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of very uncomfortable questions that watching this movie gave me.
Yeah, and a lot of those questions had to do with the character played by, what's her name?
Judi Dench?
No,
Taylor Swift. Yeah, give me a second here. I have the cast list.
God.
I can't look. Rebel Wilson.
Yeah, Rebel Wilson.
Jesus.
Rebel Wilson.
Yeah, why she gets to do the things that she do.
Yeah, she's eating children and
That are well, I don't think she eats any of the little kid mice.
No, she eats the cockroaches.
She eats some cockroaches.
Yeah.
And then can just unzip what appears to just be her layer of fur to reveal a different layer of fur, but she's wearing an outfit.
Right, there's a dress. And apparently there are multiple layers because she does this. She's wearing a dress.
Later on in the film.
Later on in the film, she does it again.
I mean, we do know that in the world of cats, magic is real.
Well, sure. I mean, that's how...
Because McCavity, who has broken every human law... I just want to restate that.
Yeah, there are humans apparently in this movie.
Well, there are, because we see one at the beginning. That's how we meet our main character.
Right, she's tossed in a bag into an alley.
Yeah, when we see a real human, and we also see the outline of what is also clearly a human being, just very small. That's in this bag.
Yeah.
And that's an uncomfortable sight. Everything, all of the visuals of this film make me uncomfortable.
Right.
I kept a running tally. I don't have it, or I have it over there. Let me go grab it, actually.
Yeah, it's in your book. That's a really nice notebook, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. I have another one of these. That is different. I use them for like D&D and stuff. But so I kept a running tally that I titled "Needlessly Sexy."
Yes.
Because this is
you didn't write down specifically because you would have been writing a shitload.
Yeah. I just kind of gave each scene a certain number. Because every scene in this movie is way hornier than it needs to be. And that made me uncomfortable. So I have a total here of I wrote down 27 instances roughly of when things were unnecessarily sexy. There is a scene late in the movie where McCavity, who is this sort of trickster prankster cat, who wants to be
Idris Elba.
Yeah, he wants to be the Jellicle choice, which means he gets to get a new life, whatever that means.
Right, they're gonna kill him by sending him off in a balloon.
In a balloon. I mean, that's never spelled aloud, but what else is going to happen to a cat that you attach to a balloon that sails off into the sky?
Right, you get reincarnated.
Yeah,
because you die.
So for some reason, McCavity wants a new life, and so in order to make sure that he's the one who is chosen, he decides to eliminate all his competition by teleporting them to a boat in the middle of the Thames River. And once he is the only person left, Taylor Swift shows up as a character named Bomb Ballerina. And for some reason, she is the only female cat in the entire film that has boobs.
She does have boobs.
She has a bust.
Judi Dench might have a boob,
but she's very fluffy.
Yeah.
I think she was supposed to be like an old Persian cat. So she was really fluffy. But Taylor Swift is the only like short-haired cat that has curves.
Right.
All of the other female cats are like very flat chested in an attempt perhaps to make the movie less horny. But then they went completely the opposite direction with the Taylor Swift scene and made things extremely horny. And it's made even worse by the fact that when Idris Elba shows up in that scene, he is a character who his fur is the exact same color as his skin. The lead character is Victoria the White Cat. She's played by Francesca Hayward, who is a black woman, but she is...
Francesca Hayward's a black woman?
Yes, she was born in Kenya. And she is, I think maybe maybe one of her parents is white, but she is a woman of color.
I didn't pick up on that.
She's fairly light skinned, but she is a woman of color. Her face in the movie is is completely white
Yeah.
because she's a white cat. She was born in Nairobi, Kenya. Her father is English. Her mother is Kenyan. But in any case, so she is like completely white. Idris Elba, his fur is the exact same color as his real human skin.
Sure.
But he's wearing a coat and a hat for almost the entire movie. But then this scene
Suddenly
with
there's
Taylor
a
Swift,
naked Idris Elba.
he takes off his hat and his coat and he just looks naked, y'all. And it is very unsettling because suddenly you realize, oh, all of these people have been naked this whole time. And I did not like that one bit. So I wrote down that whole scene as like 15 infractions of too sexy. Sure. Basically. But God, yeah, there's a lot of this movie that made me uncomfortable. And maybe what I did enjoy, I enjoyed perhaps because I was watching it with you and we got to make fun of it and laugh. Sure. And make jokes. But like,
had you been watching it alone, it wouldn't have been as...
Yeah, that would have just been weird, but we were doing it as a thing and getting drunk, so it was fun, and I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
I was not necessarily expecting to actually enjoy the process of watching the film. The songs are good. It's still the Andrew Lloyd Webber songs. I think some people have problems with like the new arrangements that they did. But like a lot of the songs are still really good. Memory is still a fucking great crescendo of a song.
I love Memory. These are actually, honestly, in my book, some of my least favorite Andrew Lloyd Webber songs.
What are your favorite ones?
You put me in a spot now.
Is it whatever the why from Jesus Christ Superstar?
Yes,
yeah. But like,
Jesus Christ Superstar, great music.
Yeah. No, Jennifer Hudson does an amazing job, and her song is fan-fucking-tastic. It's the crescendo of the movie. It's the song everybody knows. And then I've heard people talk about how much of a bop it is, and I also enjoyed it. It's fucking Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat.
Sure.
That's a fucking fun-ass song. And that's a cool character. He's a cat with a big old whisker mustache that tap dances on a rail.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was cool. I like that character.
Phantom of the Opera. That's what I
Phantom of the Opera. Yeah. Okay.
And Evita. He also wrote.
Oh, yeah. But like... This was fine. I think I really didn't like Jason Derulo as Rum Toad. I mean, he's a good singer, but it's just I couldn't get past how awful his English accent was. It's just
how clearly forced it was.
It's like you could just be an American cat.
It'd be fine.
That'd be fine. No one would care.
No.
We're not watching this because we believe you're all actually English cats living on the London streets. That's not why we're here. There's plenty of stuff, plenty of meat on there's a lot of ways to skin this movie.
Yeah. I mean, you could hardly swing a dead this movie without hitting somebody saying it was a shitty movie. But
absolutely. But honestly, at this point, it's nice to be watching something that is just silly and frivolous and bad. And, thinking about like what a tremendous waste of money this was and how much money it lost.
How much time went into it.
It's estimated to have lost Universal Pictures as much as $114 million is how much this movie lost.
The CGI, the top names, the
insane cast. Yeah, it's a huge ensemble cast. James Corden, Judi Dench, Jason Derulo, Idris Elba, Jennifer Hudson, Ian McKellen, Taylor Swift, Rebel Wilson, Francesca Hayward. Like there's some big ass names in here. By the way, I mean, this is a thing that has been talked about many times, but the fact that at the end of the movie, there is fucking like 10 straight minutes of Judi Dench looking right at the camera.
Right, yeah, right at you, breaking the fourth wall.
And not really singing.
Cat is not a dog.
She's not really, she's not singing.
There's a cadence to it, but
she's talking and it's in key.
Yeah.
More or less. It's, and I feel like maybe they're like, oh, Judy, do you want to actually sing this? And she's like, no, I don't.
I don't
want to sing it. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And Tom was just like, it's Judi Dench. I can't say no.
Are you Sir Todd Hooper?
I didn't think so. Well, speaking of Sir, so what I remember hearing is that all of the other actors, maybe with the exception of Judi Dench, but all of the other actors went to cat school where they had to learn how to pretend to be cats, how to act like cats. What are the things that cats do? Ian McKellen said, no, fuck that. I'm not going to do your stupid cat school thing. I'm just going to show up and be a cat and do what I think I should do. And it's not... You would never know that he didn't do this like month of intensive cat training that everybody else did.
What? How was this school established, and for what?
It was for this movie. It's just probably why this movie cost so much fucking money.
Yeah, I got my degree in how to act like a cat. I'm gonna open a school.
Well, I'm sure the producers hired like cat behavioralists who then would work with like choreographers, and they figured out how to make. So the budget of this film was $80 to $100 million. Its box office was $75.5 million. I don't know how it would have lost $114 million. I don't know if that original budget doesn't take into account like marketing and that sort of thing.
Your Hollywood books.
Yeah, it's I don't know. But yeah, Ian McKellen just said, no, I'm not doing your stupid cat school. I am just going to show up and oh, that's one thing I did. Speaking of Ian McKellen is Sunday morning, to give myself a treat because I didn't think I was going to enjoy cats.
Right.
Is I watched Return of the King.
Mm-hmm.
I watched half of Return of the King Saturday night and half of Return of the King on Saturday morning.
Sunday morning, yeah.
Sunday morning, because I have the extended editions, and so I started watching Return of the King at 10, and I didn't want to stay up until 2 in the morning. So because that's like a 4.5 hour long affair there. So I finished it, and still good, still worthy of 13 Academy Awards, and still makes me cry like no less than 5 separate times.
I still want to imagine the conversation between the studio and Peter Jackson. Yeah, Peter, this is great. It's 4.5 hours long. Yeah.
Best I can do is 3.5 for the theatrical cut. Fine. It's better win at least an Oscar. Several months later.
Yeah.
Oh shit, 13. Okay.
Return of the King's the last one, yeah.
Yeah. Return of the King is the last one. I don't know if Fellowship won anything.
Really?
Two Towers won a couple, and then Return of the King. I think it was basically just because the Academy was just like, look, we can't give every one of these 1 billion awards, so let's just wait until the last one is out.
That reminds me. Did we talk about this last week? I can't remember if. Maybe that was just I don't know anything about time anymore.
Yeah, it's fine.
They did the television awards. What are the television awards? The
Emmys.
The Emmys. Yeah, they did the Emmys, and Schitt's Creek won all those.
Yeah,
it was funny Monday morning. It was on the news because we were on CBS News on the Schitt's Creek. Took it. They said shit every single newscast.
But hey,
because they cleaned up at the Emmys.
Yeah, there was something that. It was something I knew would piss one of our coworkers off, mentioning that Picard won an Emmy for CGI because he's just really not fond of.
No,
series.
He's not.
In any case, Return of the King, it won 13 Academy Awards. Best Picture, it won 11.
It won
11.
For 13.
Yes. Or wait, no, it won all 11 awards for which it was nominated. Where am I getting 13 from?
I don't know.
Maybe it was 13 total for the series is what I'm thinking of.
Maybe.
So the
you
11.
say it only won 2 more or something?
Yeah. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Makeup, Best Original Score, Best Original Song for Into the West by Annie Lennox, which I fucking love. And that makes me cry. Best Sound Mixing, Best Visual Effects, tying for the record for most Academy Awards won by a single film and holding the record for the highest clean sweep at the Oscars.
Is Annie Lennox also like Dame Annie Lennox? I can't remember.
Annie Lennox. OBE.
Yeah. Or to the British Empire.
I don't know if because there's levels of that. I don't know if she has the title Dame, though.
Right. Would you call her? Oh, that's right. She's Scottish. I forget that.
I'm not entirely sure. I looked up trying to figure out how like the different levels of OBE works, and it confused the fuck out of me. Yeah, Into the West is a great song. Anyway, we've gone way off topic, but it's the end of September.
Sure.
September is already a month that where we are off our usual topic. So why not go even further?
Yeah.
Why not go even further beyond?
Oh, no. What are we doing?
No. I was just saying that's what we've done.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's what we will do.
You're saying that's what we did.
Yes, that is what we have done.
What are we doing next week?
That's a great question.
This is my week. We'll just call it my week. And then your week next week is.
Next week. Next week, what will
We're in
I
October.
do?
What do we do? It's going to be
October. Well, eventually we'll have to do something kind of spooky.
Sure.
But I don't know if that's what I want to do to kick it off.
Right.
I had some ideas, but I have lost them. Mm-hmm. So I'm not entirely sure at the moment.
Let's do some metal.
I know what we're going to do.
What are we going to do?
We're going to talk about Under Acid Hoof by Acid Mammoth.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's a new thing that I came across a couple weeks ago. We talked about it last time a bit, I think. We'll listen to it in full and talk about it next week. Get back on a little bit of a doom metal kick.
Did you listen to that thing I found accidentally online? Was it Dungeon Weed?
Oh, no, I didn't. I forgot.
It's
okay.
It's okay. I enjoyed it, I guess, listening to it.
I mean, it's silly doom metal. I mean, next week we'll talk about
Greek doom metal.
Yeah. We'll talk about Under Acid Hoof by Acid Mammoth. A couple of guys, a bunch of guys from Greece making some sick ass doom metal. It's fucking awesome. So that's next week. So till we get to that, check out Facebook and Twitter. We're on there, but we're not really on there. We just post new episode stuff. So that's what you can expect. Don't expect a lot of engagement from us because we lazy.
Yeah, we're lazy. We don't like to talk to people.
It's true. We only like to talk to each other. We are on Libsyn and we are also on Apple Podcasts. Find your ways to those places, and however YouTube. You see fit, and YouTube.
For some reason, you want to play YouTube. Let's do it.
It's open to you.
Yeah, it is.
It's an avenue.
It's there.
So until next time, thank you very much for listening to another episode. Oh, do we want to bestow a medal on cats like Maskanata to Chewbacca?
I don't know.
I don't think it applies. It's a movie. Yeah. We can't. It's not the same thing.
No. Bronze.
Yeah, I was gonna say did not place, but I enjoyed it.
Man,
so I can't say. Yeah, I enjoyed it, so I can't say it didn't place.
We enjoyed it for those two reasons: for the fact that this is 2020 and everything sucks in it. So here's some music.
It's not bad.
It was enjoyable because we went into it with the bar set so low.
The bar was on the floor and it was raised to the approximate level of an actual cat.
Yeah.
Close to the floor, but not quite on it. So anyway, that's it for that. Thanks for listening. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations. Clunk.
Empty cans.